All right, everyone, welcome back. We're diving into something pretty interesting today. And
Definitely interesting.
yeah, we're looking at Europe.
Okay.
And not just like, looking at it, we're looking at gender.
Yeah.
Gender distribution across Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So specifically, we have a map of the sex ratio in all the different European countries back in 2017.
All right. Sounds good.
And it's pretty fascinating to look at, to be honest.
I bet. Yeah.
Welcome to Gender Decoded, where numbers align, seeing the stories that data defines, breaking the barriers, truth untold, insights in gender, the data force.
Well, the map we're looking at today is basically a whole novel.
Oh.
It's from study on the sex ratio across Europe back in 2017.
Okay.
And it is fascinating.
Interesting.
We're going to be like diving deep today,
Yeah.
into all the reasons why there's like these big splashes of blue and red all over the continent.
Okay. Seems good.
So before we like get into the nitty gritty,
Right.
what was your first impression when you saw this map?
Well, I mean, honestly, the first thing that jumped out at me was just like the stark contrast you see.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've got Eastern Europe, which is like this sea of red,
Uh-huh.
and that, means more women.
Right.
And then you look up north and it's like, bam, Scandinavia and Iceland are just like this bright blue,
Yeah.
more men.
Totally.
It just like completely throws out the window any idea of like an even split between men and women across Europe.
It really does.
I think a lot of people would just assume things are pretty balanced.
Yeah.
But this map is like a giant flashing sign that says, nope, not even close. It's like a wake-up call.
Yeah, like, hold on.
Yeah.
There's way more to this story.
Exactly.
So let's like unpack all of that.
Yeah.
Let's start with migration,
Okay.
because it seems like that plays a huge role in all of this.
It does, especially in Eastern Europe.
Okay.
Like the study highlighted Latvia, Lithuania, Poland.
Mm-hmm.
You see tons of young men, mostly in their 20s and 30s,
Mm-hmm.
leaving those countries to find better work in like wealthier EU countries.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Latvia, for instance.
Okay.
The study said men in that age group are 10% more likely to have emigrated than women.
Wow, 10%.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
It is, and it like makes you think about all the families who are separated because of this.
Yeah.
It's like a whole generation of women being left behind.
Yeah.
And what does that do to like those rural communities?
Absolutely. It's got to have some kind of impact, right?
Yeah, definitely.
It's not just about personal choices either.
Right.
It's like these economic policies and this whole idea of EU integration.
Yeah.
It's made it so easy for people to move around for work.
Yeah, makes sense.
Then you look at the other side of things.
Yes.
Iceland and Scandinavia.
Mm.
They're actually attracting more men
There.
because of their economies and all those jobs in like fishing, offshore oil construction.
Right.
Those industries that have always been seen as like men's work.
Yeah.
It's so interesting how these economic forces and policies,
Yeah.
they can like reshape the whole population map.
Absolutely.
But it's not just about who's moving where, right?
It's not.
Like we gotta talk about life expectancy too.
Yeah.
Because that plays a part in this whole gender balance thing.
It does big time.
So like across Europe, women just generally live longer than men, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much a universal truth.
And that obviously throws off the numbers.
Especially when you look at those older age groups.
Exactly.
And I know the study mentioned that this difference is even bigger in Eastern Europe.
Yeah, much bigger.
Why is that?
Well, men in Eastern Europe tend to have a lot more health problems,
Oh.
like higher rates of heart disease stuff related to smoking accidents.
Oh, wow.
And on top of that, they sometimes have less access to healthcare, especially if they live in more rural areas.
Right.
So all of that together contributes to men having a shorter average lifespan there
Yeah.
compared to women.
So we've got younger men leaving these countries
Yeah.
and then older men not living as long.
Right.
It's like a double whammy for the sex ratio.
Exactly.
But what really caught my attention was how the gender balance can even change within a country,
Oh, yeah.
like depending on whether you're in a city or the countryside.
That's fascinating, isn't it?
It is. Like, who would thought location could make such a difference?
Yeah, it's wild.
The study mentioned rural Portugal and Spain. they've got way more men. Why is that?
Well, it's mostly because of agriculture being such a big employer in those areas, and that's always been seen as like a physically demanding job.
Yeah.
Historically a very male-dominated field.
Makes sense.
But then you look at the cities, and it's like the complete opposite.
Yeah.
More women flocking to urban centers for jobs,
Right.
like in healthcare education administration.
Yeah, all those sectors that tend to have more women employed.
Exactly.
It's funny, though.
What is it?
This whole urban-rural split,
Yeah.
it kind of ties back to what we were talking about earlier.
I guess so.
It's like this chain reaction.
Okay.
Young men from Eastern Europe leave to find work abroad.
Yep.
And then young women leave their rural towns for jobs in the city.
Right.
It just throws the balance even further off kilter in those rural communities.
It's like this intricate web of factors all interconnected.
It is.
This map isn't just showing us numbers. It's
Right.
like a reflection of all these complex social and economic forces, historical trends, cultural shifts.
It's kind of amazing.
It is.
Like this one image
Yeah,
can capture all these powerful forces at play.
absolutely.
Economics, health work, migration.
Yep.
All shaping Europe's demographics.
Right.
And it's just like makes you wonder,
About what?
well, if these trends keep going, what's Europe going to look like in the future?
Yeah. Good question.
Like in a few decades.
Yeah.
What's it going to be like?
Yeah. I mean, and how will we address these imbalances?
Right.
Like, what strategies can we use to deal with all these changes?
It's such a complex issue.
It really is.
No easy answers.
Nope.
But I think the first step is just understanding what's happening.
Yeah,
Like understanding all these factors
Yeah.
that are causing these shifts.
Right.
Because then maybe we can start figuring out how to navigate the future.
And imagine how these changing demographics will affect everything.
Like what?
Well, social structures, family dynamics, even policy decisions.
It's a lot to think about.
It is, but it's important.
It is.